You're listening to the 88.3 WXUT, Toledo's only alternative. It is currently 11 a.m. or 11:01 a.m. right now, and we are broadcasting live from the top of Parks Tower on Toledo, Ohio. And welcome to the Vibin with JJ show. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, obviously, with the mix of college football, NFL, and different stuff that happened this weekend. And I added a little bit extra time, so now my show will be from every time from 11 a.m. to 12:30. Originally, it was 11 a.m. to 12, but now it's 11 a.m. to 12:30, just because there's, more time. And I never realized how fast time went when it comes to talking about sports and everything like that. So there's a lot of stuff I want to get into today. Before we get into anything when it comes to college football, I do want to say, just rest in peace to Kyron Lacey. All the stuff that came out this past weekend and just everything in regards to that, it's just unfortunate. And it's just he got did wrong. And the story was changed in a way that was not right. The fact that it's just sad because the justice system failed against him. Rest in peace to him and his family or friends who everyone knows him, and I'm hoping that justice can get served. So once again, R.I.P. to Kyron Lacey. Well, as we get into this, let's go over the stuff that happened this weekend in college football. We're going to start out with the biggest thing that happened this past weekend, probably one of the biggest upsets in the past 10 years. UCLA just defeated Penn State 42-37. This was a crazy game because Penn State was favored to beat UCLA by over 24 points. And I'm about to say it's a miracle because it's crazy because Penn State was trying to bounce back and come off their tough luck and wanted to move past the Oregon game because it was a close game for that Oregon Penn State game. So this is looking to be like a get-right game for them, but they struggled, and UCLA said,
"Hold up, wait a minute."
And then UCLA absolutely beat Penn State. Like I said, it's probably one of the biggest upsets in recent memory, just because last week I was talking about how bad UCLA was. I mean, before this game on Saturday, they were absolutely one of the worst teams in college football. They were like 134th in scoring offense. They couldn't get anything done offensively, defensively. They cannot score or not do anything right. They were getting beat by teams 35-10 New Mexico, 43-10 Utah. They even lost to Northwestern State, which was one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. So that just gives you an indicator how bad UCLA came out. And let me start off with saying, I'm going to start off with the winning team, UCLA. Nico Iamaleava, that's his name. He balled out. He literally carried and did all he can. 166 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. And he has the most rushing yards with 128 rushing yards. 3 touchdowns, overall 5 touchdowns in the game. He literally showed why he was a 5-star. I know a lot of people are blaming him because basically he caused the first ever college football trade, and the way he did it, people were saying was not right. And the fact that he came out and balled out in this game shows you why he was a 5-star, shows you why Tennessee believed in him, and shows you why he's a good quarterback. Even though they struggle a lot, still show that he's still a good quarterback and can be in the draft someday. So it's just a crazy, crazy effort. At first, UCLA was up in the game 27-7. And when I saw that score, I was like, what? I was like, what is going on? And Penn State started to make a little bit of comeback. But after that, Penn State tried to make a play at the end. It wasn't a good play, and they got stopped in UCLA. With all the fans that were there, if you're in that stand watching that game, you are a real college football UCLA fan. Because, man, to be there, watch a game, UCLA that's being 0-4, if you were there at that game, I salute you. You get my salute. Because what? I wouldn't have believed it. If I was there, I wouldn't have believed it. I would have thought UCLA was going to get smoked. But that was an impressive win for UCLA. And they fired their coach. UCLA fired their coach, I think like on Tuesday or Wednesday. And the new coach, I was about to say, went to the UCLA, played quarterback there. Forgot his name. But he comes in and he looked like a whole different team. So credit to UCLA. They played their heart out, and that's something to look forward to. When it comes to Penn State, it's over. They're cooked. It's over. Unless they get wins over Indiana, Ohio State, they lose one of those games, it's over. Their season's cooked. It's done. They got hit with that fire. Like, it's done. Drew Aller, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. He didn't play bad, but they couldn't get any production going. I mean, Katron Allen had 2 touchdowns. But literally, the defense, which is Penn State's strong suit, sold. The line sold. Receiver sold. Everyone sold. Even Drew Aller, he played solid, but I mean, it was just basically the defense just selling the game and the offensive line not being good. And some of the play calling, that just falls on James Franklin and his coaching ability. I think it's just time for them to move on because it's getting ridiculous now, and Penn State fans are frustrated. Right now, James Franklin is 4-21 against top 10 opponents. He hasn't won a top 10 game since 2016. So I think it's just time for James Franklin. He needs to go somewhere else, and he's not built for Penn State. I think this year is over. But I feel like Penn State could be one of those teams to be like, he's taken it this far for so long and done all this stuff for us, and he's continually making us go get 10 wins and stuff. So I can see Penn State just keeping him there. But if I'm James Franklin, I'm going somewhere else and looking to rebuild somewhere else because this is not it. Yeah, it's over. He's cooked. It's done. And if they lose one of these other games, they lose another game, it's over. They're not making the playoffs at all. The season's done. So I was just talking about Penn State last week, how they lost last minute, and Drew Aller impressed me. Now it's over. They got unranked. They went from number 7 to being unranked. Like, they got cooked. It was bad. So Penn State, it's over for them. They got to find a way to rebound quickly as soon as possible. UCLA, that's a really good win for them, and they'll be looking to build for that for the future and the rest of the season. The next game that I want to talk about is the Texas and Florida game. Florida ended up beating Texas this past weekend with a final score of 29-21. Florida's defense was getting to Arch, and Arch had a struggle today. Watching the game, watching the tape, Arch, yeah, he really did struggle because 2 touchdowns to him. He really did struggle. He was so hyped up before the preseason, and people were expecting him to make the Heisman, Texas to be a national championship contender. And because of their defense and then some of the people they have last year, but they can't get anything going at all. Like, Arch Manning, when he's out there, he looks super hesitant to throw the ball. There's a time where a receiver was open at the goal line. They were at maybe the 5 or 4 yard line. A receiver made a cut. He was wide open for like a good 3 seconds. And Arch Manning was like struggling to like throw it. It's like he was like super hesitant to throw the ball. And I mean, he made the touchdown, but throughout this game, just his timing isn't right. Like, he's so like hesitant to throw the ball and move it that's costing him them games, and it's costing them like really bad. And that's why he had two interceptions. And so I feel like the hype of like Arch winning the Heisman, all this stuff is super low right now. They also got unranked too, and they got a tough matchup next week against Oklahoma. So if they don't fix their stuff right now, then it's going to be over for them. And all this hype for Arch, he didn't even put it on himself. He just was humble. It's just the media and stuff when he's never even been that good. Well, I want to say he's never even started against like major teams. And it's like his first few times like starting a away game. So he's really been struggling, and he's just going to need more time to develop under this system and progressions and stuff like that. I mean, he's a sophomore, but he needs more time to develop. And Texas defense is still good. It's still one of the best in the country. It's just their offense with Arch Manning, they can't move the ball. They can't run the ball. their offensive line can't do anything to protect Arch. Florida just kept on going after Arch and dominating him. So they're struggling on offense. The defense is still pretty solid. And, man, Texas is not doing that good. And they got a big matchup next week, so they need to turn around. If they want to make the college football playoffs, they have to win the rest of the games. If they lose another game, it's also over for them. So Texas has got one last chance. Win these next few games. They don't lose any more games and make it to the college football playoffs. Just basically win out, then they'll be good. But if they lose and aren't able to make it, then it's over. So that's a sorry for Florida and Texas. As for Florida balled out. They did their thing. DJ Lagway, who really struggled this past few seasons, really did his thing. Had 2 touchdowns and an interception. So he went crazy. And that's also show why he was also a 5-star recruit. I know he's struggled and people have been calling for Billy Napier's head, which I don't know if he should still be the coach for this year. But, hey, they got a good win. Dallas Wilson, that dude Dallas Wilson is a dog. He's freshman, and he did good. Had a $111 out there for 6 catches, 2 touchdowns. They couldn't stop him. A lot of the plays he told Texas to get off me, and he just did where he wanted to feel. And then their rushing game did really good. DJ Lagway after having 5 interceptions earlier this year in this game, he came out and balled out this year. In Florida, if you want to be totally honest, with looking at their schedule these next few games, they have a real life shot of making the playoffs, which sounds crazy. A 3-loss team making the playoffs sounds unheard of. But with how tough their schedule is, if they're able to pull out a win streak and then win the SEC championship, they might be here. They might go to playoffs. I don't know. So good win for Florida. Texas, they got to fix their act or they're going to get cooked next week. Next game I want to talk about is the Ohio State-Minnesota game. Ohio State has just been dominating this whole season. 42-3, they beat Minnesota. Julian Sayin, the most efficient quarterback in the nation right now. He can't do anything wrong. He's throwing passes on 80% completion. That is one of the best completions I've ever seen. He balled out with 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. Bo Jackson, not 90s Bo Jackson, Ohio State Bo Jackson, he's been rushing the ball more and more, and he's been doing really good. And then Cardinal Tate and Jeremiah Smith and all those dudes. Cardinal Tate had a $183 at a touchdown, balled out, and everyone was so focused on Jeremiah Smith that Cardinal Tate has came and gotten massive production. So it's been crazy. They're still trying to figure out offense, but their offense hasn't really struggled as much this season. And I haven't even talked about the defense. This defense is absolutely amazing. Let me tell you. And I keep saying, how I said before, I expected this defense. I didn't think this defense was going to be as good. I was worried because they had 8, 9 people that left. I think they said had 17 people overall that left. But they've came out and absolutely locked down. And I don't know, this might be a hot take, but their defense might be better than last year's. They are only allowing 5 points per game on defense. 5? That's crazy. 5 points per game. And it comes from their offensive everything on defense. Caden Curry has been an absolute revelation on defense. He's been balling out. Caden Curry and everyone down there has been really good. Caden McDonald has been really good. They probably have the best linebacker duo in the country with Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles. And then the backfield, they have Davison Igbunuson and Jermaine Matthew Jr. And they might have the best defensive player in the nation, Caleb Downs. I mean, there's nothing that this team can't do. This team is just dominating teams. They've only allowed 2 touchdowns this whole season. And they just been super dominant, and they're showing you why they're ranked number 1. So it's absolutely dominant showing from Ohio State. and it's going hoping this to see that they can continue this season with a good hot streak. Next game I want to talk about is a Vanderbilt-Alabama game. Alabama comes out, and they're looking for revenge because after last year, they were trying to get revenge for their loss last year and losing in Vanderbilt. But they came out with the win in this one. At first, in the first half, it was really close. It was 14-14, basically in the first half. It was kind of like 14-20 starting the third, but then that fourth quarter hit, and Alabama took advantage of the game and everything. Ty Simpson looked real good out there, again, for the third straight week in a row. They actually had a running game with Jam Miller, had more than 100 yards, and then they got some dogs in the receiver room with Ryan Williams and Journey Bernard. So they've been good offensively. They need to just have more running games still consistent like this. And if they can do that, if they can win this week, then this is going to show that they're legitimate and why they're a national championship contender. And as for Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia a lot and the Vanderbilt team, they're like talking a lot of cash money out there. And they're saying how they expected to blow out Alabama. And Diego Pavia was saying how he hasn't watched Alabama, and so he don't even think they're good like that. He's just been focused on their thing. So he talked a lot of cash money out there, and they couldn't turn that check in. They really struggled out there, and Vanderbilt's going to knock them down. I think they got knocked down. Alabama went up, and so Alabama's looking good for the rest of the season. But Vanderbilt, they're going to have to learn to humble themselves down and not talk too much smack out there. Next game, Miami and Florida State. This was a really close game at first. Well, it wasn't really close at that all, really. 20-22. Like, the score the game wasn't as close as the score indicates. Miami dominated throughout this whole game. Offensively, defensively. Florida State is a run-first type of team, and Florida State was able to contain them with their defensive linemen, and they had a spy. Watch Tommy Castellanos out there, and he wasn't able to do as much as he needed to. And Miami, first off, their offense, they balled out. Carson Beck had 4 touchdowns, and he's been playing like a Heisman candidate. He's up there for the Heisman Trophy for sure because he's been balling out. And Malachi Toney broke out in this game, had 2 touchdowns, a buckle 7, and he's a freshman. He's only 17. He should be a senior in high school right now, but he's a freshman playing against like all these dudes. So shout out to him. He was balling in this game. And like I said, the defense stopped Tommy Castellanos from rushing and doing everything of that nature. So they balled out. They show why they're one of the best teams in the nation. If you say that they're number one, I wouldn't blame you because they've been playing dominant football. And he's beat this Florida State team who's ranked number 18 and ball up against them. So this is good momentum for Miami. It's something that they can look forward to for the rest of the season. And I see them making it to the playoffs, and I even see them being in the national championship. So we'll see how they do. But Miami's rolling right now. And as for Florida State, tough loss. Florida State got moved down to 25, I think, in the rankings. For Florida State, it was just tough for them because, like I said, Florida State is like more of a quarterback run offense, using Tommy Castellanos to run all over the field with the passing game. And they couldn't really do that because Miami had like spies on him, and the defensive line was like really good and was able to watch him. Florida State really struggled out there for Miami, which Miami defense might be one of the best in the country. Tommy Castellanos had 2 interceptions with 2 touchdowns. And they almost made a fight at the end, but it was over already. So tough loss for Florida State and for Miami. It shows why they're a national championship contender for sure. The next game that I want to get into, there's a lot of games that happened this past weekend. Next game I want to get into is this Clemson and North Carolina game. Clemson absolutely dogged walk North Carolina. Like, it was bad. It was really, really bad. Like, North Carolina could not do anything, really. They really couldn't do anything. They beat North Carolina 38-10. it was absolutely just a beatdown by them. North Carolina, they've been disappointing. They brought in Bill Belichick, and he brought in, literally the whole team was basically transfers, and they literally got thrashed by Clemson. Their quarterback can't do anything. Their receiver aren't that good. I mean, Clemson overall just put BTA to North Carolina. So I don't know what else to say. Cade Klubnik 4 touchdowns. I mean, both these teams aren't that impressed, aren't that good. But credit to Clemson, they handle their business. And for North Carolina, their season's done. It's not good with Bill Belichick, which is disappointing because Bill Belichick, his experience, no amount of Super Bowls, it's just the past few years, ever since Tom Brady left, and kind of ever since Mac Jones' second year in the league, it's just been a downhill for him. So, and people are blaming, the people or fans of North Carolina are blaming Bill Belichick for the team's athletic struggles. And so it's been really tough for him so far. Virginia-Louisville game, when I looked at this game, I was like, this is going to be an interesting game because Louisville is a really good team, has a good team behind them, and Virginia just beat Florida State in double overtime, and it was a high-scoring game, so they got ranked 24. So I was really interested to see who's going to pull out this one, and Virginia was able to pull out in overtime. That's back-to-back overtime games they were in. That just shows their willingness to fight and their willingness to keep battling in the game. And it was just a good overall team effort. No one has like outstanding stats like that for Virginia, but it was just an overall team effort, and they were able to pull out with the victory. And for Louisville, Miller Moss, transferring from USC, he did the best he can, had 329, 2 touchdowns. And Chris Bell balled out for them. He was a good receiver for them in this game, but they couldn't do enough. In Louisville, I feel like they could still compete in the ACC. I feel like if they wanted to, if they go on this win streak, I feel like they could make the ACC championship. So they're still pretty solid, and I expect them to develop and do good throughout the season. And as for Virginia, they're still moving on. I did not expect Virginia. I don't think I've ever in my life seen Virginia ranked at all in football. Basketball, that's a different story with Tony Bennett. But for football, I did not see this coming from Virginia at all, especially this season. There's a lot of teams this year that no one expected to be in the top 25. And there's some teams that got ranked high who completely fell out and not doing it as good, like Clemson, Texas, Penn State. They're in the top 10. Now they're out the top 10 and completely out the top 25, which is crazy. And then LSU, they were ranked high, but now have to fall back because their offense isn't good and their defense is saving them. So it's just been a weird, crazy season so far. And for college football, overall, in total, it's tough to predict teams who's good and who's not. Besides, like, the top teams so far, like Miami and Ohio State and Oregon and some of those teams. So it's a tough indicator of, like, who's good. And now it's almost like any given Saturday, you got to play your best, or because if you don't, it's not going to be good. So it was a good effort by Virginia, and they come up with the win and move on to the next one. The final game that I want to get into is the Texas Tech and Houston game. Originally, I had Houston win this one as an upset. I think it was my fault because I just saw that they were undefeated and I haven't watched them, so that's on me. Got to be better. But Texas Tech came out and dominated Houston 35-11. They absolutely dominated Houston. Their quarterback at most didn't even throw over 100 yards. Both quarterbacks in it. And so that's not good. Houston, they really did not look good out there. Texas Tech has showed you why their defense improved a whole bunch, and they show why they should be taken more seriously. And coming out the Big 12, they've been showing why they're the top team in the Big 12 with overall good games from their passing, their rushing, and receiving, especially their defense for being a top 15 defense in the league from where I said earlier, like weeks ago, coming from 120s now into the 14th. Top 15, basically. So Texas Tech, good win for them. and that was a good game for them and for this season. So that was the recap of some of the games, and now I want to get into some of the matchups that are happening this season. And oh wait, looks like we got a caller on the phone. Wait a minute, give me 1 second. Hello, caller.
Hi. I think I have a wrong number.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Yeah. Well, looks like we had the wrong number on the station. So, but if you do want to call in and not have the wrong number, that number is 419-530-4455. Again, it's 419-530-4455. Now I want to get into these games that are coming up this upcoming week. Big week. Obviously, I want to talk about our game, that battle at I-75 between Toledo and BG. I'm going to be at the game. I'm excited to see this game. Last time I went down to BG to watch UT and BG, it was my cousin and my friend with shout out to KJ and Cassius on the radio. We went down there. It was a nighttime game, and it was super cold. And we were down 20 points. And I was like, and they were like, we should leave. I was like, no, what? They came back. And then all of a sudden, Toledo scored again, and then just kept on doing what they do. And they came up with the victory. And then all the fans from our side came down there to win. And so this is going to be a really good rivalry game, especially after last year where UT didn't allow BG's band to come on the field. And BG came down on the field after the game. So this is going to be a really hostile game. I feel like it's going to be really close. I feel like it's going to be a really tight battle. I'm really thinking it's going to be going all the way to the wire. But if Tucker Gleason can come out there and not struggle like he did last year, if Chip Trainer can run the ball, and if Junior Vander Ross can all throw the ball, and the defense who's been allowing, well, that's the last time I saw, like at least under 10 points per game, 11 points per game, can do what they do, then I got the TOLEDO. I said the TOLEEDO win this game. So looking forward to see the game and looking forward to see the rest of this game. So the next game I want to give a prediction to is the Ohio State-Illinois game. Ohio State is going down to Illinois, which Illinois is ranked. They're ranked number 17. And Illinois is coming off a good win. They've coming off some good wins these past few weeks. Illinois played good against Purdue, in which their quarterback, Luke Altmaier, had 390 passing yards. Now, that's going to be really on only 19 throws. Now, that's going to be really tough stopping that, especially if we got Hank Beatty going out there throwing the ball. Ohio State should not take this game lightly, because if they come out and do not focus down and do not focus on Illinois, they're going to get got. So Ohio State needs to really lock down on defense. Play the championship defense that they've been playing the whole season, which I feel like the defensive line, everything's been super motivated ever since last year, saying we're not going to let off all the pressure at all. We're just going to be full force, throttle to the pedal to the metal, basically throughout the whole year, and it's just been dominant by them. So if the defense can do their thing for Ohio State, and Julian Sayin can be efficient and throw it to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate with Max Clare and Bo Jackson running the ball, I got Ohio State winning this game. And I know I'm an Ohio State fan, but just objectively, just how well Ohio State's been playing, I got Ohio State winning this game. The next game that I'm going to look at is the Alabama-Missouri game. Alabama's been on the roll these past few weeks. Missouri's been a good team this year. They're both ranked. And if Alabama can win this weekend, this will certify them in the rankings and show why they're a national championship contender, why they can make the SEC championship and they'll go to the college football playoffs. So if I had to choose, I'm going with Alabama. Next prediction, Indiana versus Oregon. This should be really interesting. I mean, the game is in Oregon, but this should be really interesting. If Indiana comes out and defeats Oregon, this shows that they're officially here and that they're not fluke. Because last year they was really good. They were undefeated a lot, and then they got dominated by like Ohio State, and then they lost. And college football players got beat. So if they can go out and beat Oregon in Oregon, this will solidify Indiana as a top team. It's someone that should be taken serious within college football and within the Big Ten and in the playoffs. So for Oregon, it's to feed the ball, use Dante Moore through his playmaking ability. And if Dante Moore can handle his team well, he'll be able to win the game. And as for Indiana, it all goes down to Fernando Mendoza, who's been balling this year, who's been a transfer, who came from California, from Cal basically, and has absolutely had more touchdowns right now than he did last year. He has 16 touchdowns right now, and he has 16 touchdowns last year. So right now he has more touchdowns than what he did last year. So he's been balling out. If they rely on him and he gets the game going and they're able to block for him, then they got a chance. It's going to be a really close game. I'll be looking forward to watching this. But if I had to pick a team, I got Oregon win this game. The next game I want to give a prediction to is the Red River Shootout between Oklahoma and Texas. It's an annual game that plays every year. And there's some people that say this is the biggest rivalry in college football, which is not. I guess I can see that. For Texas, their game plan is going to have to be Arch Manning, like literally doing what he can to carry out there and win. Because if Florida could get after Arch Manning, then Oklahoma can for sure go after Arch Manning because their defense is really good as well. So they need to do that. Their running game has to be really good out there because Arch Manning is leading the team in rushing, which if your quarterback's leading the team in rushing, if you're not Lamar Jackson or anything like that, Josh Allen or anyone like that, not Robert Griffin III or Braxton Miller or anyone of that nature who can run the football and throw it, then that's not good. That just shows how weak the run game is. And they need more production from their offensive line. Their offensive line needs to be better. The running back has to be better. Need a wide receiver to step up. I mean, this is a young team, so they got time to develop. But if they want to keep their playoffs hopes alive, then they need to, for sure, do what they can to win this game. And as for Oklahoma, there was a report saying, or there was a thing saying John Mateer was singing the Chipotle line, and he said that he was expected to play this week. So I don't know if he is going to play or not. But if he does play, then it's going to be tough for Texas. Just overall, their defense has been really good with John Mateer, and their backup has been really good. So I'll say this. I'll give my prediction. If John Mateer isn't playing, just because this is a must-win, I think our Texas is going to win. But if John Mateer does play, I got Oklahoma winning. Georgia versus Auburn, I got Georgia. And LSU versus South Carolina. If Lenore Sellers is playing for South Carolina, I forgot if he is, but if he's playing, I'm going to go with South Carolina to get the upset and defeat LSU. So that's everything, college football and predictions, reaction, and RIP to Kyron Lacey, and hopefully he gets justice. Now we can talk about some NFL action that happened this past week. Let's talk about the 49ers and Rams game first, because that was crazy. That was a crazy game. I don't think anyone picked the Rams to lose to the 49ers because the 49ers have so many injuries, from Brock Purdy to Brandon Ayuk to George Kittle to Nick Bosa to Ricky Pearsall. I mean, they've been literally absolutely struggling out there. Their best receiver right now is a mix of Kendrick Bourne, Jake Tonges, and Demarcus Robinson. And the fact that they're winning with that line, I mean, they have Christian McCaffrey on as a running back and Trent Williams out there. But if those are your two go-to people on offense, and you have Luke Farrell going out there, I mean, they're literally pulling out the second, third strings out there and winning games against a good Rams team. For the 49ers, that's an absolutely amazing win. this just shows how much coaching goes into football games and why coaching matters in the NFL, and having the right situation is right for you. Because Mac Jones on the Patriots, his rookie year, he was doing really good. He was green out there in the Pro Bowl and had a good, successful year. And people thought he was going to be the future. But then Josh McDaniels went to the Raiders, and they had Matt Patricia, who's the defensive coordinator, call offensive plays. Like, who does that? Like, no one does that. Bill Belichick was out of his mind, and they cost it and stunned the growth of Mac Jones and replaced him, made Bailey Zappi start over him. So the 49ers really have turned Mac Jones' career around, and when he gets into free agency, he might have one of those Sam Darnold years. Like I've been saying with Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, Mac Jones, all the quarterbacks who have been struggling to find somewhere to play have now all gotten the right situations and stepped up. This just shows how much coaching matters, because Kyle Shanahan is one of the best coaches in the NFL, and you cannot doubt his ability. I know there's a lot of times where his team chokes in the playoffs through his history, but literally, if you have him as your coach, you'll do pretty successful, because he's one of the best coaches, offensive minds in the NFL. And he can build up schemes and plays that'll get you doing the right thing. So he's got Mac Jones playing. And he's got even people discussing, should Mac Jones start on Brock Purdy? Which I don't think so. He shouldn't. But Mac Jones has been looking really good, and he's going to be the hottest free agent when he gets to free agency when the season's over. So that's for sure. As for the Rams have literally Matthew Stafford. He's literally been carrying the Rams on his back, and I know they have Puka Nacua. He's been playing like Offensive Player of the Year, and Devontae Adams and Karen Williams in a defense that's pretty solid. Matthew Stafford has had to carry this team to the end, and the Rams just need to appreciate him as long as he's there, because he's older and he's not going to be there for long, because I think he got like a good 4 years left until he's gone. So they need to appreciate Matthew Stafford as much as possible. Rams, they just couldn't capitalize. Kyron Williams fumbled at the wrong opportunity, and the Rams were looking to go for it on fourth down overtime, but the 49ers stopped them. 49ers are now up again in the division, and they're looking really good out there. And if they can keep this up, Kyle Shanahan just can win Coach of the Year. I mean, give it to him, because the fact that he's doing it with Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne being his leading wide receiver, which Kendrick Bourne isn't bad, but that being your leading wide receiver is just impressive. So Kendrick Bourne is like the leading receiver, and they just been doing their thing out there. Hopefully, we'll see what it goes. And as for the Rams, they got to pick it up, because if they don't, it's going to be not that good for them. The next game that I want to get into is the Vikings and Browns game. So the Browns made a quarterback change and benched Joe Flacco and pulled in Dylan Gabriel, which I will talk about Joe Flacco in later when I talk about the Bengals. Dylan Gabriel came out there. He didn't have the best game of all time, but he did what he needed to do. 2 touchdowns, more than at least 100 yards passing. He did what he needed to do. He didn't look terrible. He looked solid out there. But the Browns, they stay in games. Their defense helps them stay in games. Just their offense, they can't capitalize on offense. Their offense isn't good. But I know you got pieces like Quinshon Judkins has been playing really good. And then you got players like David Njoku, Jerry Jeudy, and those just coming out the backfield. But other than that, offense has really been struggling. And the defense kept them. That's the only reason why they kept them in this game, because defense was able to hold the Vikings down. This week they got to go against Steelers, which Steelers is never an easy team to face. It's always a tough team to face. But Steelers are one of those teams where they'll play down the competition, and every game will literally be close, and every game is a heart attack. So the Browns going to move on. And as for the Vikings, this is an interesting game because J.J. McCarthy is still injured. Carson Wentz has been out there playing, and he hasn't been playing as bad. I mean, he's been playing but J.J. McCarthy has played a little less So I don't know. It's weird right now. Because personally, me, I never thought J.J. McCarthy was worth the pick that he was worth. He was too high in my opinion. So J.J. McCarthy, I don't know. We'll have to see what they do. If he could come back and play, this will be an indicator of if the Vikings are going to be good or bad. So Vikings come out with the win, and they'll be moving on to the next week. Broncos and Eagles game. The Eagles had control of this. They're up by at least 14 points, I believe. Yeah, they're up by a bit, and they were like, oh, Eagles, this is what they do. They suffocate teams. They capitalize and beat teams down and come out and defeat the opponent if they're down by this. But credit to the Broncos and credit to them balling out and actually doing something. Bo Nix with a touchdown, J.K. Dobbins, Cortland Sutton. They all balled out right there. At the end, they was able to fight back, and it shows how Sean Payton continues to fight and will never stop. He just keeps pushing the pedal to the metal due to his coaching schemes, and everything like that. So credit to the Broncos for winning. And as for the Eagles sold this game. They had a really big lead. The receivers, the Eagles were Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown were able to get their receiving yards up like they wanted. But when it comes to rushing, they didn't do good. As a whole, Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts had combined 8 rushes together. Not for one person, 8 rushes together. That's almost as many rushes that's less rushes than J.K. Dobbins had in this game. So it's just been an unbalanced. Like 1 week, they're running the football. Jalen Hurts is running with the football and everything like that. And then A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith might be complaining. And then when they do throw the ball, they don't run the football. So it's just been an imbalance. And if the Eagles are going to be struggling like that, then they're not going to win the Super Bowl. I still think they can make the Super Bowl and even win it. But if they don't have a consistent offense/defense out there, it's going to be tough saying for them. So we'll see how they get that addressed, and they need to really fix that. The next game that I want to talk about, this game between the Texans and Ravens. I know that the Ravens got so many injuries, but let me tell you, the Texans came out and the Ravens got hit with that. I said the Ravens got hit with that. That's what they get, because they got blown out and they absolutely bombed against the Texans. The Texans dominated the Ravens. It wasn't even close. And just from the beginning of the game, you just can tell Cooper Rush doesn't mesh with this offense. And it's just been a weird season. Ravens has so many injuries. Lamar Jackson, Matabike, Kyle Hamilton, someone else is in the first season. They just got so many injuries. The Texans beat them 44-10. And the Texans have literally struggled, and their offensive line has been good. C.J. Stroud had 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. If you would have told me that the Ravens would have been 1-4 and tied with the Browns for the season, I wouldn't have believed you. But it's happening now, and I don't know. If the Ravens lose this next game, I think their season might be officially be over. And John Harbaugh and everything, the defensive coordinator, Zach Orr, has not been good. They've given up the most points in the league. They're on pace to give up 600 points if they continue to play defense like this, which is not good, and it's going to be really bad for them. So the Ravens need to lock in and fix their defense. Just need to make improvements overall. But as for the Texans, they look really good. Their defense is still one of the best defenses in the league, and they were able to handle business on the Ravens and come out with a win. And that was our first time ever winning inside the Ravens Stadium ever. So credit to them and credit for winning. The next game is the Titans and Cardinals game. Now, when you look at this game, you think Titans and Cardinals. If it was on Thursday Night Football, you would think Titans and Cardinals. I'm skipping this game. Heck no. And that's how it looked like at first. The Cardinals were up 21-6, and they were about to score and go 28-6. But all of a sudden, after that, Imari DeMarcado pulled a Deshaun Jackson and flipped the ball at the 1 yard line without crossing the goal. And that just came a theme, and they just fell down after that. Their coach, Jonathan Gann, got so upset he punched him, which he got fined today $100,000. It's not, they freaking folded. I mean, absolutely folded. The Cardinals are done. Cam Warren came down, threw an interception. The Cardinals got it. Then they fumbled, and then Tyler Rocket from the Titans got it for a touchdown. And it's like, what's happening right now? And then the Titans was able to win a walk-off field goal with their kicker, who missed an extra point so bad that you could hear Beyonce saying, to the left, to the left. It was that bad. And for the Cardinals, they're done. It's cooked. There's no one's going to be worried about them. It's over. And for the Titans, even though they're still one of the worst teams in the NFL, the fact that they came back just shows how good they did and were able to come back against Arizona Cardinals teams that are not that good. And just they're so inconsistent. And the Cardinals, they're done. It's over. They're so average that they're done. Next game, Buccaneers and Seahawks. Now this was one of the games of the week. I mean, one of the games of the week. This was like a boxing match until someone made mistakes and someone's going to get knocked out. And Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield played some perfect games. And this was absolutely beautiful to see. You love to see games like this. Was just absolutely beautiful to see. The Buccaneers came out and beat the Seahawks 38-35. And it was a masterclass from both teams. There was no defense play, but overall, you love seeing games like this where both teams can play good. Baker Mayfield, people are saying that he might be the MVP. 379. He was only missed 4 times, had 379 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, there's nothing that he couldn't do out there. And Emeka Egbuka, I mean, he balled out too. He's been looking amazing. He might be offensive rookie. He probably is offensive rookie of the year. And he's doing all that he can. And it was a good game from the Buccaneers. The Seahawks played good as well. Jackson Smith-Njigba, we might have to put him as a top 10 wide receiver because he balled out too. Sam Darnold was really good out there. He had 4 touchdowns. So they were going back and forth, and it was crazy. These two quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, they are both on the same team on the Panthers in the 2022 season. And look at them now. And as a Buccaneer and Seahawks now saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And these two quarterbacks are team's treasure. And they're both like MVP candidates. And it was a costly mistake that wasn't really Sam Darnold's fault. It hit off the dude's helmet. And they were able to get an interception. And that's how the Buccaneers were able to come back and win the game. So this was like a heavyweight fight where both of the boxers were going back and forth. You just wait until someone made a mistake, and Seahawks made a mistake. But these two teams are both good teams. If we get to see these two teams face each other in the playoffs, then it's going to be peak television right there. Let me tell you. Peak television. Let me tell you. The next game that has some good... I was about to say that has some good plays, but look at my thing. It wasn't good at all. I feel like I've been going in on the Bengals like a lot the past few weeks. And you know what? I'm still going in. The Bengals got beat by the Lions. And at first, this game wasn't close at all. It was just bad. Lions did whatever they wanted. Defense for the Bengals could not stop the Lions. And Jake Browning, those first 3 quarters, he was looking terrible. And I mean terrible. He had like 70 yards like 90 yards and 3 interceptions. He looked absolutely terrible out there. And I will give him credit. They did fight a little bit, scored 21 points in the fourth quarter, but it was already too late, and they lost again. That's another loss without Joe Burrow. And the Bengals season is, like I say, is now even more done. But they tried to make a trade, and you know who traded for? Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco? What? Man, this dude, Joe Flacco, they traded for Joe Flacco. You could have traded for Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, anyone of that, but you traded for Joe Flacco, who got benched, and he has 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. The Bengals don't know what they're doing. Their owner is cheap. It's over. I wouldn't even have Joe Burrow come back. They should just tank. It's over for them. And the Lions is doing what they need to do, and they win the game. So I got like a few more games I got 3 more games I want to talk about. There's a lot of crazy stuff that happened this football week. Man, it's crazy. So Commanders defeat the Chargers. The Commanders come into LA and defeat the Chargers in a 27-10 battle. As far as the Commanders, they did their thing. And Jacory Krosky Merritt, or Bill, as he likes to be called, balled out and had 100-plus yards. Jaden Daniels was doing his thing out there and moving that football and was able to get production with his legs and threw in the football. So Commanders look like the Commanders, and Deebo Samuel will look really good out there. Some people didn't think he was going to do good, but he looked really good out there, and he did his thing. As for the Chargers, they are struggling. Omarion Hampton got injured, and their offensive line has been really hampered, and they can't do anything right now. Rashawn Slater, out for the season. Joe Alt got injured. He's going to be out for weeks. And Mekhi Becton is going to be out for weeks. So if you can't protect out there, then you got no shot. And Justin Herbert has got pressure throughout the game, and you do not want that. Because no quarterback can take multiple hits in a row. Like, literally, they can't. So, Justin Herbert really couldn't do anything much because he got pressure so much by a Commanders team who doesn't even have pass rushers like that. And they still got to the quarterback. So, they need to find protection elsewhere. And Hassan Haskins is going to be their starting running back. And that's not ideal. But we'll see how they can do. Quinn Johnston, Keenan Allen, McConkey, or Ladidi McConkey. They got those receivers, but running the ball with Omari Hampton down, it's going to be tough for them to do that. And then for the defense didn't do their job. They let the Commanders run over the field, get whatever they wanted, and they need to step up and play good defense in order for them to win games with the offense being as limited as they are right now. So, good win for the Commanders. And for the Chargers, they need to pick it up before the Chiefs and, like, the Broncos pick up momentum. I got 2 more games I want to talk about. The Patriots and Bills game. The Patriots pull off the upset and defeat the Bills 23-20. I think I said on my last show, I don't know if I did or not, I forgot. But on my show, and I said it to my mom and dad on Sunday before, I said, I would not be surprised if this game is close. Like, I would not be surprised. And watching this game all the way through live, I can say that the Patriots literally fought their behinds. On Sunday Night Football, in a whiteout in Buffalo. It looked like the Penn State, like a playoff game. And Drake May was composed, was able to find his opponents. Find his receivers, especially Stephon Diggs. He wasn't locked in on Cardi B for this game. He was locked in on this game. He wasn't locked in on Cardi B. He was locked in this game. He had a good revenge game against the Bills and dominated out there. And he's like one of the main reasons why they won the game. And as for the defense for the Patriots, they really put pressure on Josh Allen like not that many people have. Christian Gonzalez, when he's out back there, he's one of the best cornerbacks in the AFC, and he's made a total difference. Like, literally anywhere that the lead receiver goes, he stays on him like a hawk. So he's super good, and his stats, his PFF stats and everything says that. So Patriots play real good. And as for the Bills, this is one of those losses that you hate to lose, but you're going to look back on and find out this is a game that you can improve on. And so they struggled out there. James Cook didn't really get the ball going because the Patriots defense played really good at the top of the run. And the wide receiver, they had Dalton Kincaid was their best receiver. He played solid, but it was more about the Patriots and their defense and Drake May capitalizing more than the Bills. So good win for the Patriots, and their schedule gets easy, so maybe he might be a playoff team. And with Mike Vrabel as the head coach, and then Josh McDaniels, he's not a good coach, but for the Patriots, he's a good OC. Hey, we'll see what happens. They can do something. They can do something for sure. And then the last game I want to talk about, Jaguars and Chiefs game. This was a wild game. I called my mom, or my mom called me, and she was like saying how this game was not good because it was 14-0 to start off with, in which I was like, oh yeah, the Jaguars are going to pull away. But then they came back some more, and then they absolutely dominated the Jaguars. And then the Jaguars came out in the second half. It literally was doing what they can to come back in the game. They came out and scored 14 points, and one of those points was a pick six, 99-yarder to the house. When he ran all the way down and was on a sideline, he literally took a knee because he was that tired. And both teams were battling out in the end. There was a weird penalties going on that favored the Chiefs. There was one penalty that favored the Chiefs where I think it was in the third quarter. Dude tugged on the wide receiver, I think Parker Washington, and called it and got an interception, and the refs never called it. That shows that the Chiefs got some home cooking money. And they're not even at home, so I got some money on the refs. And then the last play of the game, last possession for the Jaguars was absolutely insane. Trevor Lawrence trips 2 times, mind you, was able to get up off his feet and was able to rush in for a touchdown on like the 1-yard line. When we saw that, me and my mom and sister went crazy because I'm like, that's impossible, improbable, unprecedented, amazing. So Jaguars got a big win, and this shows that they can compete with the other AFC teams, and that's where the Chiefs, they need to have the offense that they had back from 2018 to 2021 in order to win these games, because they need Xavier Worthy to turn to that Tyree Hill type of speed person. I know he's kind of like slimmer, but he needs to literally do this. So they need to step up and need to do what they can to win. So Chiefs got to do better. Jaguars is a good real indicator for them to come out and show why they're here now for AFC. So those are my reaction to it. I'm just going to give you my quick prediction. We're going to take a 5-minute break. So Steelers, Browns, I got us. Even though we're the type of team to probably keep that close, which I'm hoping that we are able to just blow them out. But knowing us, we might just keep it close. And they might even threaten us, like it might go all the way down to the wire. Give us a heart in the heck, but it is what it is. Seahawks, Jaguars. That should be a really good game. If I had to choose, I'm going with the Seahawks because they need to win. Rams, Ravens. I don't think this is a discussion. I think I got the Rams winning just because how bad they look and just because I got to play that sound effect again for them. Yeah, so Rams win, and if they lose, the Ravens lose, it'll be 1-5. That's crazy. Bengals, Packers. Joe Flacco, I can't trust him. He got benched and not good. 49ers, Buccaneers. I got the Buccaneers win that game. I was going to say the 49ers, but I'm like, I trust Baker Mayfield. He's been playing like an MVP candidate. Might be the MVP. So I got the Buccaneers winning. And then Lions and Chiefs. If I had to say, I would go. I think the Chiefs are going to win. This game. I was going to say Lions, but I'm going with the Chiefs. And then the Bills and the Falcons. Got the Bills winning that. So, hey, we're going to take a 5-minute break real quick, and then we'll be talking about more basketball, anything regarding basketball. So, We will be right back on the Vibin with JJ show. And we are back from our break. So now I'm going to talk about the basketball. We're going to talk about I'm giving my predictions about each team. If we do, we might do, I'm about to say, like half the teams this week and talk about half the times next weekend. I'll give my predictions for each team. So let's start with the 76ers. When it comes to the 76ers, they got a lot of problems going on. I mean, Joel Embiid's been injured every year. Paul George, they gave that massive contract to him, and he's always injured. And so I know they have Tyrese Maxey, but literally, your two best players keep getting injured. If you keep getting injured, then you're not going to win games. And let me just tell you, it's not looking good for them. They just gotta get healthy. If Joel Embiid can get healthy, which he said that he might be out for even longer, then that's not good. And I don't know. They need to just be better and just come out there and do better things out there in order to win. So I must say, 76ers, they could really, because if they wanted to, they could go to the finals because the East is weak this year. But they got too many injuries right now, and we're now within their star players. I mean, they got Tyrese Maxey, but just him there is not going to carry them to the finish line. So they need all their pieces there, and so yeah, they just need that. Next team I could talk about is the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks is in an interesting situation because they obviously have Giannis there. They had Damian Lillard, but he tore his ACL and he got traded back. He got signed. He signed with the Trailblazers. He's going to be out for a year, but he'll be back on the Trailblazers. And the Bucks, they basically revamped the whole team. I mean, obviously you got Giannis there, but they have a whole bunch of pieces there that going to be really interesting to follow. They picked up Miles Turner this offseason to kind of be like that Brook Lopez replacement because Brook Lopez was getting really old, was getting older, and couldn't really do that much on the team. And so he was getting older. I mean, he could still play solid defense, but he was moving too slow. His defense kind of fell off a little bit. And yeah, he's got, so they're hoping to get production out of Miles Turner. Picked up dudes like Cole Anthony, Kyle Kuzma still on the team. And that's just always there. Gary Trent Jr., Taurean Prince, Bobby Porter still there. Bobby Porter still there. I mean, they got Gary Nash. I mean, they got some pieces, but if I'm Giannis, I wouldn't like to be traded to somewhere else. I know he's loyal to the Bucks, but if it was personally me, I would have went somewhere else, to be honest. And I don't know. He's going to have to see how he does. Obviously, Giannis is going to be Giannis. He's going to dominate, average a good 13, more than 10 rebounds like per game with 5 or 6 assists on 60%. But other than that, I don't know. Not looking good for him. Well in the situation, so hoping he can come out better and do much better. The next game next thing I want to talk about is the Trailblazers. The Trailblazers are coming off a losing season. I know they had a losing season that year, but they have some pieces on their team that are really good that can continue to develop, and they'll be really good. Obviously, I just talked about Damian Lillard coming back to the team. He's going to be out for probably the rest of the year because he tore his ACL, or I think he tore his one though, and he'll be out for a while. So you got Scoot Henderson coming out there and trying to provide more action. I mean, this year last year averaged 13 points, 5 assists, or rebounds. And It's just he needs to be proven more and more. Kind of fell scored like a little bit, but he was more efficient. But if he wants, he's got to be more improving more in order to justify being the number one pick. No, wait, I said the number one pick. Excuse my language. I meant to say the number three out overall pick. So yeah, he's got to improve and do better on that. And then they got some other people on their team who's looks really good. Tomani Kamara. Now that dude is a defensive beast on there. He can play. He's super lengthy, 6'7", 229. He can guard forwards. He can guard guards, and he can guard center with how long his reach is and how long his arms are. I mean, he's known his average like 0.6 blocks, but he's a really good defender, and he can block anyone, get good steals, which he averaged just 2 steals basically last season. So he's a really good building piece to have. And then also you got people like Danny Adida. I said Adida. Danny Adavia, which he improved a bunch last year. Daniel had 17.7 rebounds. He shot 37% from 3. So Danny Adavia looking pretty good piece. Obviously, you got Drew Holiday, Jeremy Grant, and other Murray Roberts. So it's basically like a rebuilding year change. It's basically a rebuilding year still for the Blazers. And Drew Holiday wants to get out and move out of Portland, but he's doing what he can. And that's my preview on the Blazers. When it comes to the Bulls, they're in a weird spot because they're in the mode of being close to a play-in team. I think they made a play-in team. Yeah, they're close to being a play-in team / needing to rebuild. Obviously, I mean, you got Josh Giddey, who did what he did last season, and was able to produce at a solid level. But yeah, they're in this weird position where they need to rebuild / they're in a playoff mix. So in the NBA, you don't want to be stuck in the middle. Because if you're stuck in the middle, then you got really nowhere to go. So they're really stuck in the middle, and we'll see what happens. Starts off with the Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey was pretty solid for them last year. Averaged 15, 8, and 7. He looked pretty solid out there. Was a much improved 3-point shooter because in the past he couldn't really shoot like that at all. Shot 38% from 3 and pretty good. I'm gonna say he can pass the ball, run the offense. He can do a lot of things on the offensive end. So if he can continue to build and improve, then he's gonna be good for this team. Obviously, you got Kobe White, who's a baller, who's been balling the past few seasons as a lethal scorer. And it's just been good to see. Averaging 20, basically. And he's been averaging near 20 since last year or the year before that. So Kobe White, I'm going to say, is looking pretty good. He's a good, consistent piece for them. And they got other pieces like, what's his name? Matez Brazulis. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah. Matez Brazulis. Or Bazulis. I said Brazulis. They got shooters like Kevin Herter. They have Vucevic still there. Who really want to trade him? They got Ayo Dosunmu out there. Zach Collins, Javon. So they're in a position where they're in the mode of rebuilding / playing. So interesting where the Bulls are. They're usually in that middle round where they're not the team to tank, but at the same time not a team to make the playoffs. So they're right in the middle, and that's like one of the worst positions you want to be in. The next team that I can talk about is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now the Cavaliers have been trying to figure it out because they had a really good record. they started off super good. They started off undefeated. They were trying to get like more and more wins, but when it came to like tougher teams, they always struggled to beat them. And well, I mean, they beat tougher teams, but they couldn't capitalize on it. They still had the core of Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, and Jared Allen, but I don't know. And they picked up Lonzo Ball to come off the bench, so they need to. Kenny Atkinson has to do a better job. It's just rotating and having better rotations in the lineup. And so, yeah, Cavs need to do what they can because if they get locked down and be more consistent, they can make it to the finals. Because the NBA is weak this year, and there's no like top team in the Eastern Conference. So, if they can do what they do and actually lock down, then it'll be a good game for them. Moving on to the Celtics. The Celtics are looking not as hot right now. Jason Tatum, he tore his Achilles in the playoffs. And he was gonna play, but tore his Achilles, and so it'll be just Jaylen Brown as the main option. And they picked up Anthony Simons, but losing Drew Holiday and Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis is going to affect their defense a lot. I expect them to be worse defensively for sure, and offensively, we'll have to see if Jaylen Brown can be a true superstar and carry this team. Which doesn't tell me that he might be able to, but we'll have to wait and see. And then, yeah. I can see the Celtics making the playoffs. Those will be pretty tough for them with all the injuries they have. Who else I want to talk about? I think that's all that I want to say. I'll go section by section. Well, no, I'll talk about next. Next team I want to talk about is the Clippers. Clippers have been really interesting because of this whole Kawhi Leonard scandal, which Kawhi Leonard's been breaking news, and every time something more development happens, something crazier happens. So I don't know, just been kind of awkward stage for the Clippers because they're in this controversy right now, and I don't know. I feel like Clippers will still make the playoffs. If they don't have Kawhi, I think they'll miss it, but we'll see. We'll see where that whole situation, Kawhi Leonard situation, gets resolved at, and see if he's still on the team or not. When it comes to who I want to talk about, the Heat are looking to rebuild their brand around like the Miami culture and Miami vibe, and looking to rebuild. I mean, they had Tyler Hero, man, but where they are right now, I think is the best they're going to get. So it's going to be some trying to rebuild them phases, and just going to be doing whatever they can just to continue and build for the future. So they're just in a rebuilding phase. Next up, the Hawks. The Hawks still have Trae Young, but then they have some other pieces on their team that help. Dyson Daniels was really good last year. He had so many steals. That's why he won Most Improved Player last season. And he's a good defender and someone good to put near Trae Young, because Trae Young, he might be one of the worst defenders of all time. I mean, literally one of the worst. So it's good that he's there. And then you got Kristaps, who got traded to the Hawks there. And then you got Onyeka Okongwu still there. Is he? Yeah. Luke Kennard for shooting. Jalen Johnson, who's been really good these past few years, being more consistent with offense. And then that's about it, really. It's just been a rebuilding year for the Hawks, and obviously where they build on from here. Next team that we can talk about is the Lakers, my team. Lakers, signed a bunch of people: DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, Jake LaRivia re-signed Gabe Vincent. And obviously you got Luka there and then LeBron. So I think the Lakers should be pretty solid, to be honest. And I think this is LeBron. I know that he had the whole decision too, but it ended up being a Hennessy brand. Like just showing out to Hennessy and stuff like that. And I believe this is actually LeBron's last season. I really do. Because the year number 23, he wears number 23. And the All-Star games in LA. So Lakers, I think we should have like more than 45 wins at least. I don't know. I'm about to say the Lakers should be good, and I'm looking forward to see what they do for the rest of the season. Well, it looks like I'm gonna head out a little bit early. I got 3 more minutes left, but it looks like I gotta head out early. And then I'll give my predictions about who I see win MVP. For the NBA champions, I got Thunder. The MVP, I got Nikola Jokic. Rookie of the year, I got Cooper Flag. Most improved player, I got Milas Bazinas. Defensive player of the year, Victor Wembanyama. And coach of the year, David Adelman. So that's everything football, basketball today. And now it's time for the dad joke of the day. So it goes. If you get a message from me and it says something about canned meat, don't answer it. It's spam. Thank you to listening to the Vibin with JJ show, and have a good day.